Right now, joining us from the North Mississauga Soccer Club, president and no stranger to this show, Trevor Bertrand. Trevor, welcome.
Good evening to you, Tony, and to all your listeners.
Pleasure to have you on. Trevor, I wanted to have you on because this is a topic that you know quite well, and this is a topic that is picking up steam in the US of A and here in Canada. And you have some experience, and you're going to shed some big-time news with us in a couple minutes' time, a big bombshell that you're going to share. But I want your thoughts on this, Trevor. If a player is good enough from your club that you've developed for 4, 5, 6 years or more, using some of the best facilities, some of your best coaches, all your resources, and they go over to wherever, Italy, Spain, England, Germany, Portugal, and they sign on, is it not fair, is it not proper that your club and other clubs should be compensated, and why?
Well, most definitely, the clubs should be compensated. The clubs have put a lot of resources into developing the player. We've been patient. Clubs have been patient with players through their youth, through their teens, and I'm of the firm belief that if this is done to develop the player, it's hard to see international clubs coming by and, if you want to use the word steal, just grab the players and take them away, and no compensation is being given to the club.
Yeah, you're bang on, Trevor. And this has happened with many clubs all over Ontario and in Canada. I've heard about these stories. I've actually seen it when one of my sons was playing. Someone from Portugal just coming over here and talking to the parents, talking to the kid, convincing him. And guess what? All that work that club did, those coaches did, they got absolutely nothing. Now, Trevor, if I'm not mistaken, I think a couple years back, you were fortunate, lucky enough to develop a player and take part in it, and he went on to success in MLS and also in Europe. Who was that, and how did that all play?
Yeah, the player was Doniel Henry, and Doniel was sold to West Ham United. We were really surprised at the club because we got this call from the GM of West Ham United saying that because of some type of FIFA rule that we were unaware of, which we are entitled to, like a solidarity payment. Then obviously he got contact with us. We got correspondence, went back and forth, and they asked for an account number where they could deposit the money, and it was a pleasant surprise to us and a good chunk.
And so, Trevor, that's great to hear because, you know what, it is important that youth clubs like yours and others and academies get compensated for doing all the hard work. That money, I'm sure, Trevor, you and your board made sure it went to all the areas that were important that your club needed, whether it was more for the coaches, whether it was more for the office staff, whether it was for whatever reason. I'm sure that you put that money and invested it back in the club, correct?
Well, most definitely the money went back to development. I think that coaching development it should be a priority with most clubs, especially today with all the standards leagues that we faced with. So, for me, the money's got to go back to coaching education and to assist coaches as best as we can to not compensate them, but help them with the registration fees for moving on to the provincial B, national B, beat nationally. So, yes.
And how important also is it that if you're producing and developing these players that, more and more, hopefully, funds are coming in that you're being compensated for, that you could actually build a proper clubhouse facility with a field adjacent to it, showers, the whole 9 yards, Trevor, so that you can then start taking it to another level where you can do more and more development with your players and coaches.
Yeah, that would be something, but I think for something to happen of that magnitude, I firmly believe like a couple of clubs would have to amalgamate within the region and get these things going. It was a plan of North Miss way back in 1999. We were given a field by the city, which we call Panther Park now, and we were given the go-ahead. All plans were set, everything was in place. We got the okay from the city. And back then, the board turned it down. That would have been a standard setting stuff for clubs around here.
So, Trevor, when I called you today, I wanted to have you on to talk about this topic, and you started to tell me about a story that literally I had to pull over at the side of the road because my mouth just was left wide open. And I think I said to you about 5 or 6 times, wow, 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 and I couldn't believe it. Now you're going to give us an exclusive. A young man that has gone from your club overseas has signed a contract with a big-time club, and you have been compensated. And I think this is fantastic news that needs to be told. Please tell our listeners, our viewers, the exclusive.
Okay, we got a letter from a Premier Division club in the UK advising us that one of our former youth players, and I'll just read a little extract for you, just a little sentence. It says, you may be aware, but Liam will sign with the Liverpool Football Club in the summer, and under FIFA regulations, compensation is due to all clubs since his 12th birthday. So that's part of the extract of the email that we received from the, that would be the head of Academy Scouting and Recruitment for Liverpool. So yes, the player who signed, Tony, if you would allow me to say who it is.
Absolutely, with pleasure.
His name is Liam Miller.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and he signed a professional contract with the academy team with Liverpool. I had to sign a number of forms for his ITCs, one of them called TPO. It's a release form basically guaranteeing Liverpool that there's no other club that has rights to him. So they sent that over, a gentleman called Connor Barry. And I signed this, and then we received information saying that we're going to be compensated. They basically asked us about if we know about the FIFA rules, which obviously no. And then he came back and he quoted us a number. So I can safely say we got in excess of over $25,000.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. This is fantastic news for your club, for other clubs and academies in Ontario and Canada. Fantastic. Well done to you, Trevor, the coaches that helped this young man on to success. I mean, the family must be ecstatic. But when you saw that email, Trevor, and when you read it, I'm almost sure you had to read it a couple times over. This had to be something that had to say to yourself, wow, it's all worth it. I'm a volunteer president, but it's all worth it when we get not just the money, but recognition for players like this.
No, it was, it's Tony. Funny you say that. The first thing I said to myself, I said, "Oh, I now have an official signature somewhere in Liverpool." Yeah, but it's good. I think we've been very fortunate as a club. I mean, all the hard work does pay off. I mean, to receive compensation for 2 players, both going to Premier Division soccer football clubs in the UK, and within 2 years, a 2-year span. It speaks volumes, and I really want to reach out to my counterparts clubs that, keep working at the youth level. You never know. There are opportunities there, and they're few and far, but it's real. It does happen.
And that's fantastic news. You mentioned something a few minutes ago that I think that it's important to explore in the next few shows that I'm going to do. It's amalgamating with another club to make a super club. And I believe if this happens, I think more and more players will get signed overseas, and more compensation hopefully will come back this way because there's a bigger pool, much more money is spent on coaches, facilities, on and on. I think this is the key, the success moving forward for Ontario clubs and academies. You agree, Trevor?
I most definitely. I mean, there too many clubs or the academies propping up. I think we need to come together, consolidate everything, and make it for the benefit of the youth and give them the best that there is out there. I mean, the OSA is trying its best. I mean, all these the standard leagues, and I think we're on the right track.
Trevor, lastly, before we let you go, we really appreciate your time in giving us this exclusive story of your player signing there with Liverpool. Unbelievable story, and congratulations on that. But just before we let you go, Trevor, let's talk a little bit more about the area that you're situated in Ontario. It's a very highly populated area. It's produced many men and women players that have gone on to success, NCAA, Europe, MLS, as you mentioned, on and on. But to me, what I think is still lacking in that area where you are located is a specific stadium to help all the clubs like yourself out to use as one. Your thoughts on that, and has the city decided to really bring it up another notch to help all those clubs out there?
Yes, this is badly needed, and yes, the city has proposed a site, which will be the Eglinton and Ninth Line area. It will be a complex very similar to the Hershey. 2 fields on the outside, and additionally, one's going to be one field I know for a fact going to be made as like a stadium, a mini stadium, to accommodate the League One teams and the teams that are coming forth. Yes, that's in the process. I think they're looking at 2018 as we speak.
Outstanding, outstanding. Trevor, congratulations again to you, your club, the young man, his family, the coaches that helped this young man. It's a special day in North Mississauga, special day in Ontario, and in Canada. When a young man goes over to a world-famous club like Liverpool, it puts a smile on my face and on yours and everyone's. Trevor, thank you so much for giving us this exclusive and your thoughts on this topic, my friend.
Yeah, well, it's a great topic for discussion. Also, Tony, in the time of Donniel, I received a call from a gentleman who was writing a script for Reader's Digest. And I asked him how he got my number. He says he inquired and was told about Donniel. And I think they were trying to get some type of organization to go after the MLS teams. Okay, and he did a little interview with me. I never really got a copy of the magazine, but this gentleman spoke to me for quite a while.
Interesting to know about that. Interesting. Well, you know what? Again, continued success. Let's keep hoping that you can keep developing, producing these young men and women to go overseas, and your club can be compensated because those funds will go right back into where it's needed, mostly with your club, whether it's coaching, fields, you name it, it will be put to a good use. Trevor, thanks again, and we really appreciate you taking the time, my friend.
Thank you, Tony, and have a good night.